Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are under the Daikin slash Astro Dome. Everywhere it's Astros. Every day, all the time, all over the place. I'm still trying to get a couple of things worked out. Give me just a moment on that. The chat is not on the screen, but it will be shortly. I hope you're all doing well today. I see a few people already here. Shake's here, Lowlight's here. Daniel, thank you for stopping by. Houston, Texas, Dave. All of you good people, thank you so much. It's about 7:30 in the morning here in Hiroshima. Got started a couple of minutes late. Had a few extra things I needed to do. But slowly but surely getting things worked out on the screen. Let's see here. Where is that? There it is. That's what I'm looking for. That should be correct. Yes, it is. So I will type in the chat, Go Stros, and welcome in, everyone. How about that? All right. There are a couple of other changes out that I want to make along the way, but I'll get to those things soon enough. First of all, I want to go ahead and go over the Astros lineup for today. We've got Game 1 versus Detroit today. The Detroit Tigers, which are just a few games ahead of us in the American League. This season, the Tigers haven't been a big problem for us, but let's hope that the Astros are in better form today than they were against the Orioles, because they just weren't there. They just weren't together. Hitting and pitching was such a letdown. That was a tough series. And that series was either a wake-up call to help turn us around or a turning point in the season that will lead us in a bad direction. So we can seize it as an opportunity to go in a better direction, or it can break us down, and I'm hoping it's the former. I believe it's going to be the former. We've got a couple of pitchers coming back that I really believe are going to be quite good. They're performing really well. Jordan's coming back soon in a very short amount of time. He's not the baseball god that's going to cure all of our hitting problems, but I do believe that his presence and contribution at the plate, combination of those things, are going to be a big deal. Jeremy Pena is starting things off. He's at shortstop, followed by Carlos Correa at third base and Altuve at second base. Top three guys: Pena, Correa, Altuve. Jesus Sanchez is the cleanup batter, and he is in left field. Christian Walker batting fifth at first base. Caratini catching at sixth, and Yainer Diaz batting seventh in the DH spot. Thank you again to Joe Espada for breaking these guys up. Putting Caratini between Walker and Diaz is a big brain move. That right there alone, I believe, can really help the Astros a lot. Cam Smith batting eighth in right field. Jacob Melton, for some reason, is still in the game in center field, batting ninth. We really need Myers back. We get Myers back, Melton is gone. We get Jordan back in the lineup. And then in this lineup, we don't need Diaz as DH. We can have Jordan. And this lineup will look much, much better. But that's the way it stands. Pena, Correa, Altuve, Sanchez, Walker, Caratini, Diaz, Smith, Melton. Jack Flaherty is on the mound today for the Detroit Tigers. 4.76 ERA. He's not having a stellar year, but traditionally, some Astros batters have had a hard time with him. The interesting thing is that Jeremy Pena historically does well in this park, but has not done very well against Flaherty, so it'll be interesting to see how the game goes today. But even a so-so game for Pena against this pitcher would be acceptable compared to the way he played against the Orioles. Disney? Isn't that right? I think so. How many people do we have already listening in on the live stream? I'm not sure. Let me check. Right now we have about 19, a very low number. Kind of surprised it's not already up to about 40 or 45 or something like that, considering that we're not playing the Orioles. But it's all good. Doesn't really matter too much. What matters here is that the Astros do the best they can, enjoy the game, and that we do the best we can and enjoy the game. 'Tis the way I look at it. 'Tis the way I look at it. The weather is pretty nice this morning here in the countryside. I've got my sliding door open. You can see I've got some nice sunlight coming in today. I didn't need to set my alarm, but I did just in case because the game started a little earlier than usual. If the game starts at like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, I don't have to set my alarm. The sun wakes me up just fine. But if the game starts a little earlier, like today for me it starts at 7:40, you can see that they are out on the field right now getting their final warm-up tosses in. If the game starts like it does, or like it did today at 7:40, that means I need to be up at 6:40. It's likely that I would still wake up naturally with all the sunlight coming in. But since there has been a regular warning of possible thunderstorms, just scattered occasional thunderstorms in the area, it can be completely clear and sunny, and then a few minutes later suddenly there's some clouds over the house and thunderstorms. If that happens, it makes it pretty dark. It might not wake me up on time, so I decided not to risk it and use my alarm anyway. Flaherty's on the mound. Looks like he's ready to go. "16 hits allowed by Flaherty in his last 2 outings. Well, hey, Glenn. How's it going? First pitch on the way. 95 in the bottom of the zone. Strike 1 to Jeremy Pena. For those of you who don't know, Quietly Wandering in the chat is a good friend of mine. He's in Australia. Should be coming here soon, I believe. 80 miles an hour on the knuckle curve. 2 strikes back-to-back to Jeremy Pena. He takes a little time out there. Hey, Elvis, one of my members, thanks for being here. Indeed, let's win this one. Let's win one for the Gipper. Here comes the 0-2. Low and outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Jeremy Pena. How's the weather over there, Glenn? Beautiful weather here today. Nice and cool in here in the house. 1-2 is the pitch. Swing and a miss. Pena goes down, swinging. Quite an uneventful start for Jeremy Pena. Makes me wonder if he's still feeling sick. That brings up Carlos Correa. So the flash goes down, and Correa is now at the plate. He almost gets hit on that first pitch, up and in. I do think I want to turn on my little fan, though. Get a little extra airflow. The air is kind of stale. It's nice in here, but the air is Not moving. Next pitch on the outside edge. Strike one. 1-1 is the count. Good news yesterday when I went to the tax office in Geaux, East Hiroshima. They're giving me back all of the taxes I paid in last year. 79 mile per hour knuckle curve. Swing and a miss by Correa. Strike two. It's 1-2. Glenn says it's a lovely winter's day. 20 degrees with a few rain clouds coming in. Winter's day, 20 degrees. 94 miles an hour outside. 2-2. It's funny because right now inside the house here, when I woke up this morning, it was 24. According to my thermostat right over here. Right now it's 26. There's a pitch. Outside again. Full count. But yeah, that's funny. Winter in Australia, 20 degrees. Interesting. At the very least, I like a winter that's a little cold. It doesn't have to be freeze your eggs off cold, but you know what I'm saying. Here's the pitch. There we go, right down the line. I might go all the way to the wall. Correa's around first base on that 3-2 pitch. Correa hits one right down the third baseline, and he's got himself a double. All right, a one-out base runner on second on the knuckle curve right below the zone. He stuck with it. Third baseman couldn't get it. All the way down to the corner. All right. Jose Altuve, my hero, comes up. First opportunity with a runner in scoring position for the Astros against the Tigers. He taps this one foul. Another knuckle curve. Strike one. Glenn, I wonder if you've got your tickets purchased yet. And by the way, are you flying directly to Osaka? That's good coffee. 0-1 pitch to Altuve is on the way. He shows bunt. He puts it down. It's a good bunt. He can't handle it well, and he's safe at first base. Look at that. The surprise bunt by Altuve and another infield hit. The only one surprised by that was Flaherty. He had Altuve, but whenever he went to handle it with the glove, he couldn't pick it up fast enough, and because of that, Altuve was able to beat it out barely. They might be challenging it. No challenge. That's a hit. 2 hits in a row, a double and a single. Runners on the corners for Jesus Sanchez. Here comes the first pitch. Outside. The knuckle curve missing. This is a nice start. Jack Flaherty, a right-handed pitcher. Sanchez, of course, lefty. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. 93 in the top of the zone, fouled off. Coastal Queensland is rarely cold. I hear ya. I remember it was summertime in China whenever we went to visit Sydney and those areas down there. Went to the zoo, the Australia Zoo. 1-1 is the count. Here's the pitch. Fouled off. 94 up and outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count. Whenever we arrived in Australia, it was cooler, of course. But when we thought about it, we're like, oh yeah, it's winter time. And we kind of laughed because we thought, this is winter? Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss on the knuckle curve. That knuckle curve had a lot more movement, a lot more drop on it than the one he threw against Correa. So we get the South Korea double. The Altuve bunt snap. Now we have runners on the corners with 2 outs. And it's up to Christian Walker. Here comes the first pitch. Outside, ball one. The slider misses. One-way ticket to Osaka is done. GC to Cairns to Osaka. Gotcha. Okay, so one transfer. Here comes the 1-0 pitch to Walker. Outside again and low. This time a knuckle curve, 2-0. Is he going to load him up for Caratini? Delicious cup of coffee, even though there are a couple of coffee grounds in there. Next pitch, slowing outside again. Another slider. Three straight pitches outside and low. Two sliders, one curveball. 3-0 against Walker. Here comes the toss. Right in there, 94 miles an hour. Walker taking all the way. 3-1 is the count. Glenn, I haven't heard back. I'm trying to apply for a self-sponsored visa, but I need to get a contract. That's low, ball four. Knuckle curve. He doesn't go for it. Altuve on second base. Correa on third. Walker on first. And that brings up the Batman, Victor Caratini. Big opportunity here. So the Astros have been getting on base like crazy. Now it's time to drive some runs in. Takes the first pitch right down the middle, 95 miles an hour, strike one. That's right, Juan. Just one good hit right here. We've already got a bunt and a double. Four grand slams for Caratini, two of those this year. Two of those this year in less than 10 days of each other. Maybe a week. Here's the pitch. Curve, inside and low. 1 ball, 1 strike. I would absolutely be thrilled to see another Caratini grand slam. Can you imagine 3 grand slams in 1 year? Here comes the 1-1 pitch from Flaherty. 94 on the outside edge, fouled off. 1-2 is the count. "25 pitches with this next toss." He hits it pretty hard, but it's right at the center fielder. Out number 3, the Astros get nothing. You know, it's interesting. As soon as Caratini hit that ball, the pitcher said a 4-lettered word. As soon as Caratini hit it. So just for a moment, I thought maybe it was going to be down. But as soon as they changed the camera angle, I knew that it was going straight to the center fielder. Astros leave several runners on base. Already the Astros have left 5 runners on base. So Caratini strands 3, but the Astros leave 5 on base. For those of you who don't know the difference between stranded runners and left on base runners, you can ask me. I've explained it several times. I care more about left on base. I don't care about stranded runners. I care about left on base runners. Stranded runners are at the end of the inning. Left on base are all throughout the inning. Glenn says admin processes can be slow, or they just don't want to deal with you. Well, the email reply that I'm waiting on is from the online company that I used to work for. And basically what I need is, I just need, I still have my old contract with them. I might even be able to use that, actually. I'm going to go back and look at it. If it doesn't have an expiration date on there, I just might use that anyway for my application. I don't necessarily need this company to give me a new contract. I could just use my old contract. Today I'm going to look at it and see if there are any dates on there. If there's no expiration date, if it's kind of an open-ended contract, then I'm just going to use that and forget about getting any kind of letter from them. Spencer Arrighetti is on the mound for the Astros today, and he's taken his final warm-up pitch there. He had a drastic improvement in his last outing. Let's hope that he continues that today. But as far as my visa application is concerned, I get partial disability, as you know, and I have a little bit of income coming from my YouTube channels. Now, that money doesn't really count because they don't count YouTube. Here comes the first pitch. High and outside. Arrighetti's first pitch is a 93-mile-per-hour fastball up and out, and he is facing Colt Keith. Keith batting .262, but he calls timeout there and backs out of the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. Here comes a 1-0 count. This is hit hard into right field, and that's going to be down for a single. So the Tigers waste even less time than the Astros getting hits and getting on base. 2 hits for the Astros in the first inning, no runs. 1 hit so far for the Tigers. Lead-off batter is on with no outs. But what I was saying is that I just basically have to compile all of the income that I'm getting with the contract and present that for my visa application. Here comes a pitch. Right in there, a nice curveball. Gleyber Torres at the plate, batting .261 this year. On base percentage of .357. 0-1 is the count. Here comes the toss from Arrighetti. Whoa, way up and in. 1-1. But the lady that I messaged, Glenn, I have her direct Microsoft Teams. The company used to use Skype. Here comes a 1-1 pitch. A little low. 2 balls and 1 strike to Torres. No outs, runner on first. The 79-mile-an-hour Swiffer missing. But all she has to do is just message me back, and she hasn't. But that's not different than when I was working for them. She was very slow to respond always. Here's the pitch. This is hit out in the right field, but Cam is right there for that one. Runner stays at first base, 1 away. Hey, Gregory, good to see you. Correa. Let me interpret those thumbnails or those emojis. Correa puts the Tigers in a jam and the Astros win. That's what it means. Fox at bat, welcome in. Good to see you. Good day to you too, sir. Here's the pitch. Kerry Carpenter is now at the plate. Takes that first pitch on the outside, the curveball for strike 1. 1 down, runner on first base. Carpenter calls a timeout. I'm working on my second cup of coffee here. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Arrighetti. Carpenter swings and misses. Nice changeup in the bottom of the zone. 0-2. First strikeout for Arrighetti on the way. Let's see. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Nice. It is a strikeout. Swing and a miss. Another pitch at the bottom of the zone, but this time a curveball. Nice drop. 2 outs. Hey, Fred. Good to see you. Let's go Astros indeed. Riley Green comes to the plate with 2 outs. Arrighetti throws over to first base. They almost pick him off. 9 pitches now for Arrighetti. Runner remains on first base with 2 outs. The first pitch to Riley Green on the way. Grounded foul down the first base line. Strike 1. Yeah, you're right, Glenn. You know, the lady that I'm dealing with, her name is Kia, and Kia was my primary go-to support staff. And even when I was working for the company, she would always take forever to respond. This is a steal attempt. The throw is not there in time. Caratini throws it from his knees, but there's no chance to get him. He had a really good jump. Runner on second. Yeah. Yeah, that pitch by Arrighetti was a curveball. Took a while to get to the plate. 1-1. Here's the pitch. Right in the bottom of the zone, another curveball, but that one's in the zone. 1-2. Gregory, wow, that's a long shift, my friend. I was feeling tired and sore myself, but for different reasons. I actually was in bed for quite a while, but that might have had something to do with it. Swing and a miss. Spencer Arrighetti with another strikeout. Gets out of the inning. So the Tigers get 1 runner on and strand him. I love this commercial because the girls are super cute. Let's see. What is it? Baitoru. Baitoru. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what the product is. I just know the name of the company. It might be kind of new. I don't know. But Gregory says, I just woke up. I woke back up to see you on this broadcast. Well, thanks for coming back. Gregory is one of my members, one of my treasured members who support the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Gonna have to set up a cup of coffee to help me off this bed. That's exactly what got me out of bed earlier. I really don't have enough padding on my bed. I built my bed frame, and my bed frame is pretty cool. It really is, but it doesn't have a box springs on it right now. It's just a foam mattress. It's about this thick, and then my sheets on top of that. That's it. So it's a little more firm than I like, but right now I'm trying to get things moved out of this room. So I'm not trying to settle into this room. I'm trying to get moved out, and I don't want to get comfortable there. But because of that, I wasn't comfortable. I haven't been as comfortable sleeping there the past few nights, and I went to bed at a decent time last night. I was able to stay in bed for about 10 hours total. Probably slept 8.5, at least 8.5 of that. But when I woke up, I'd slept in the same position for too long, and I was pretty sore. So it was the coffee that got me out of bed, Gregory. Fox at bat, yeah, me too. Another one of my beloved members. Hope the Astros win today. Me too, my friend, me too. Diaz is at the plate, takes the first pitch. Looks like he was taken all the way. Curveball, strike 1 in the bottom of the zone. Sarcastic Prodigy already with the super chat. Thank you, sir. That is enough money to get myself almost. Actually, that is almost enough to get the cheap breakfast at the Geaux Cafe, which Glenn knows. Where is he at? Here's the pitch. 1-1 pitch. Woo, that was a little too far either side, but the umpire says me likey. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Diaz. Diaz calls a timeout with a little dissatisfied smirk on his face. I understand that. Thank you again. Special thanks to my member, Sarcastic Prodigy. I appreciate that very much. That's inside. The knuckle curve missing. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Diaz. Diaz trying to work it, baby. Work it, feel it, and get on base. The 30th pitch for Flaherty coming up in just a moment. This crowd is really quiet right now. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Inside, grounded just foul, almost on the line there. Count stays 2-2. Absolutely nice cups of coffee to wake us up. Took your vitamins? Yeah, I don't take vitamins when I first wake up unless I eat something. I want to make sure that my supplements and my vitamins and all that stuff, they get really absorbed. So always make sure to take them with food. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Of course. Yiner once again. You know, I could do a video compilation of Yiner striking out on pitches like this. Either the slider or the Swiffer outside and low in the dirt. I mean, it feels like deja vu, and I'm not kidding. Whenever I see that, I feel like I've seen that a million times before. It's probably because I have. One away. Cam Smith at the plate. 93 right in the bottom of the zone. Swinging a foul tip. 0-1 is the count. Brendan says the Astros seem to play better away than at home lately. Throwback to before, right? When they couldn't win at home. On the upper outer corner, strike 2. 0-2 is the count. He dropped the Fram Burglar into the chat. He's not even in the game, but it's a funny icon to see. It's a funny emoji. But that's a strike 3. Second out. Jacob Milton comes to the plate. The Astros 9th in the lineup. Two outs, nobody on. Let's see if Milton can do something by himself. First pitch is inside for ball 1. Fred says, I'll also have to make a coffee here. Working late. Man, you guys are working hard. Let's go to some of this. It just means thank you for your hard work. Here's the pitch. 93 right in the middle of the zone. 1-1 is the count. Milton batting an amazing 188 for the season. I remember when he was batting an even 200 just recently. Swing and a miss. He's not improving his case right now with that knuckle curve miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ooh, man. That cup was full almost to the brim. I'm surprised I didn't spill it. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. That hit him? Did that hit him on the foot? Looks like it. Okay, Melton's going to go to first base. I don't mind. If they hit Melton every single time he comes to the plate, that's fine by me. Right on the toe. Yep. Yep, right off the side of the front foot. Runner on first base. Carlos Correa. No, I'm sorry. Jeremy Pena at the plate. I don't know why I said... Oh, I was looking at Correa's picture. That's probably why. 1-0. First pitch is a ball to Pena. 40th pitch for Flaherty coming up. Astros making him work a little bit to get out of these innings. At least. 79 mile per hour knuckle curve. Swing and a miss. Lethargic cheers from the crowd. Lacayos, let's go Astros. Indeed. 1 ball, 1 strike to Pena. 2 outs. Melton on first base here in the top of the second. Astros looking to get something on the board here as soon as possible. Angel, welcome in, fellow man of culture. Absolutely hoping for the best, expecting the best even. Here's the pitch. And Melton is stealing. Looks like he's in there. How about that? So Melton finally gets on base with a hit by pitch, and he decides to contribute by sliding into second. Well, he's not able to hit the ball, but he's able to get hit by the ball and steal a base. Good enough. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Blade Rogers on second base. 2-1 is the count to Pena. Here's the pitch. Pena hits that one way up in the air to shallow center field. That's going to be out number 3 unless he botches it. He puts it away. So another runner in scoring position left on base by the Astros in this inning. That's a total of 6 in 2 innings. We've had 6 opportunities to move runners around and have not done it. 2 hits and no runs for the Astros. 1 hit, no runs so far. Going into the bottom of the second, Arrighetti will be back on the mound. He's up to 13 pitches. Not bad so far. Giving up just 1 hit. He'll be facing Spencer Torkelson. Travis says, can't stay, just here to do the like. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. If you're able to put it on mute and let it play in the background, that actually helps me out. Just letting you all know. If you ever have the inability to listen in, but you can let it play either on your computer or on your phone in the background, then please do, because it helps out with watch hours. Watch time duration is very important to YouTube. So if you come in for like 30 seconds and then leave, it actually hurts. If you come in and like and leave, the like is nice, but if you don't stay and watch, YouTube actually knows how long you watch. And at the end of the video, at the end of the live stream, it tells me what the average duration is for each viewer. And that matters very much. Right now, I think my live streams, if it's a game where the Astros are playing very poorly, it'll go down to like 11.5 to 12 minutes per person, average view duration, which isn't terrible, but it's not great. If the games are really good, it's 15 to 16 minutes, which is good. It's quite good. But I would love to have over 20 minutes. If I had over 20 minutes per person, that would be absolutely stellar. That means that the live stream is stellar. 93 in the bottom of the zone. Strike 1 to Spencer Torkelson. 0-1 is the count. Travis, that is awesome. Thank you so much, sir. I know that some of you don't understand all of the details of how the analytics work on YouTube and how they decide to promote your channel. So I just figured I'd let you know. And for those of you who are able to do it, like Travis here, much appreciated. Very much appreciated. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here comes the toss from Arrighetti. Another low pitch. 2 balls and 1 strike on the Swiffer. Robert says, will do. I did that last time while I was cleaning the house. Go Astros. Thank you so much, sir. Much appreciated. Hey, Patrick. Good to see you. Welcome in. Here's the next pitch. Oh, come on. 92 in the top of the zone. That ball was 100% in the zone and called a ball by the umpire. I wanted to see that replay, but they didn't show it. 3 balls and 1 strike. The umpire robs Arrighetti. Here's a 3-1. Another one right in the top of the zone. 2 strikes in a row. And they call ball 4. Why aren't the Astros commentators complaining about that? Nobody's saying anything. They're just letting it go. I'm not kidding, guys. 2 pitches in a row. The ball, here's the top of the zone. The ball's here, completely in the zone. 2 pitches in a row. Should have been strike 2 and strike 3. Instead, it was ball 3 and ball 4. Here comes the pitch. Next batter is Winfield Perez. No outs, runner on first base, thanks to the umpire. First pitch is low and inside for ball 1. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. That one hits Perez on the leg, of course. Now we have 2 runners on with no outs. Good grief. Where'd he get hit? He got hit right on that inner thigh, right by the knee. Marty says the pitching lineup for the Tigers: Cy Young, Cy Young, Cy Young. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need. We need 3 Cy Young pitchers. Right now, any pitcher is a Cy Young pitcher against the Astros. Just the past few days, that's what it's felt like. Thanks, Robert, for liking the live stream. I appreciate that. 2 runners on. Dylan Dingler, interesting, at the plate. 92 in the bottom of the zone. Strike 1. Umpire finally calls a correct strike. I certainly hope that the umpire doesn't give us a long day like this. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Curveball. 77 miles an hour. 0-2 is the count. Yeah, Fred, that walk was more than suspect. It was egregious. I mean, the ball was 100% in the zone. It wasn't clipping the zone. It was 100% in the zone both times. This is hit hard into left field all the way to the wall, and it's gone. No, it's off the wall. I thought that was gone for sure. Somehow it stayed in, and it came off the wall. Sanchez grabbed it quickly and brought it back in, so no runs actually score. Can't believe that. Can you believe that? Bases are loaded. The sun was bright out there. I thought it was gone. Dingler kind of thought it was gone. He was jogging to first base, but look at this. Where does it come down? Okay, I see. It was about 3 or 4 feet, maybe 3 feet off that padding, 3 or 4 feet below the top of the wall. It bounced up in the air. Sanchez was able to catch it and get it back in pretty quick. So no outs, bases loaded. Here comes the first pitch to Trey Sweeney, up and outside, ball 1. So we got ourselves definitely an old-timey jam, do we not? This is an old-timey jam. We got runners on first, second, and third for Arrighetti with no outs. Let's see what he can do here. Here comes the pitch. Okay, that was actually below the bottom of the zone and called a strike. So the umpire's zone is low. He doesn't like the high fastball, but he likes those low pitches. Just remember that, Arrighetti, and you'll be good. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here comes the next toss. Swing and a miss. Perfect. Arrighetti goes below the zone again. Sweeney went after it, couldn't get it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Travis says we definitely need a win here. The umps are not our friends right now. Got stuff to do in this game, distracting me. Don't worry, man. Do your thing. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Woo, there we go. Strike 3 on that outside edge. The curveball in there. The batter is laughing and smiling about it like it was outside, but it was there. Boom. Umpire luckily calls that one. So the umpire is calling the edges and calling below the plate, below the zone. He just doesn't call above the zone. Sweeney was laughing, but you can go home. 1 out, bases loaded, double play. Swing and a miss. 78 miles an hour on that curveball. Javier Baez at the plate, batting .269. 29th pitch of the game coming for Arrighetti. 0-1 is the count. Ground ball, might be a double. Pena to Altuve. Altuve to first. In time, double play. I kid you not. Look at that. The scoop at first by Christian Walker. Holy freaking cow. Pena scoops it up. Arrighetti gets the ground ball. Pena fires to Altuve. Altuve to first base. Scooped up by Walker. Double play. Arrighetti loads up the bases with no outs and comes away with a goose egg. How do you like that? I'm going to say that's a snap. That's an Altuve snap, and he clears the bases. Well done, Astros. Well done. Arrighetti gets himself into a jam. Comes back. Doesn't get flustered. Gets the strikeout. Beautiful pitching, gets the strikeout, gets the double play. Astros defense is solid. Man, that was nice. Fox at bat asks, is it just my impression, or do umpires make more mistakes since the time rule was implemented? I've had that doubt since last season. That's not a bad question. I haven't thought about it, but I would imagine that those stats could probably be figured out. I'm sure that those stats exist somewhere. Somebody could compile it, put it together, and present that. It's a good question. Yes, it was an incredible double play, that's for sure. This is where we start our run. I certainly hope so. It'd be nice. Wouldn't it be nice for a defensive inning like that to really kick-start the Astros? We come back in the top of the third and just start raking. That'd be nice. Top of the third coming up with Carlos Correa due up. Jose Altuve and Jesus Sanchez. Travis says, I often wonder if the batters that argue and fight the strike calls, they get to the dugout and see the film and then realize they were... I wonder that too. Like later on, do they go back and they look at it on TV and see the strike zone like we see and see that it was in there, and then they're like, yeah, no, it wasn't there. Maybe they still disagree with it, you know. Low and outside, ball one to Correa. Come on, Correa. Made my coffee and I'm eating something. What are you eating, Gregory? Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Ooh, he holds up, but that ball was right in there. 91 mile per hour strike. Couldn't have been more perfect. Right in the middle of the zone. How do you hold up on that pitch? 1-1. Here comes the toss. 92 on the inside. Fouled off. 1-2. It would be nice to see a Correa home run right now. Just go ahead and keep the momentum going from that defensive excellence. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Taken low in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 hits for the Tigers and the Astros, but no runs yet. Top of the third. Flaherty dealing to Correa. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the pitch. Right in the bottom of the zone, strike 3. He takes it. So Correa takes 2 strikes right down the pipe. He swings at the one inside. Could have been called a ball. Takes 2 strikes down the middle. 1 down. Jose Altuve comes to the plate. Let's hope that Altuve swings at anything around the zone. Here comes the first pitch to Altuve. 93 right down the middle of the zone. He fouls it off. Bounces right off the catcher. Strike 1. Leftover spring rolls. Casey's having leftover spring rolls. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. That one's in the top of the zone. A slider. It's hit into the air in the infield. He has a little trouble with it over at third base, but he manages to put it away, so Altuve flies out. But both pitches were in the zone, so can't really be angry with Altuve for swinging the bat. They're showing the only highlights that are worth watching from the Astros' tragic loss to the Orioles. Sanchez not able to contribute at the plate, but he's able to make the catches to save us from losing by 100 runs. 1 ball, no strikes to Sanchez right now. 50 pitches for Flaherty. Here comes the pitch. Grounded down the first baseline. They say it's fair. First baseman gets it and tosses it to the pitcher for out number 2. I'm sorry, out number 3. That's 3 up and 3 down already. It happened so fast. It happened so fast. 1, 2, 3. I thought it was out number 2. Wow. If it had been a snake, it would have bitten me about 3 times before I noticed. So the Astros go down 3 of and 3 down in the third inning. Nothing doing. No hits, no nothing. We go to the bottom of the third. Arrighetti back on the mound in just a moment. He is at 29 pitches. Coffee time with the Astros. Astros using their air bats. Yeah, most people like to play the air guitar, right? But the Astros, we are air bats. I think it'd be interesting to see these guys play wiffle ball. Give them some plastic bats and balls. I'd rather see that. That'd be more interesting. Yeah, I'm waiting on Sanchez to heat up too. I thought he was getting there, and then he just cooled off. He seemed like he was about to really take off, and then he just shut down. Still waiting. Go in the store and get your groceries, Travis. We'll be here when you come back. Albert says, wipe the sweat off your face. We got lucky. Huh? I'm not sure what you mean. J. Paul, 5-0. Feels over. Subs. All right. Submariners losing. Yeah, I think that the Phillies can sweep that series, guys. So if we can have a good series here in Detroit, can you imagine how great it would be to sweep the Tigers and the Subs get swept? Oh man. Oh man, that would be so nice to go up by 3.5 games. I can dream. 76 miles an hour, right in there. Strike one to Colt Keith. Arrighetti back in business with 30 pitches. Here comes the 31st. Ooh, right in there. 92 on the lower inside corner. Just like that. 0-2. There we go. Trying to get my fan off of my microphone. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Low and inside. Almost got him on the foot. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Let's see if we can pull up the scoreboard. We'll take a look at it in just a minute. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. This is hit high in the air out to center field. Melton is right underneath it. Blade Rogers puts it away. Adult style catch. Tomorrow, the starters that are slated tomorrow and then the next day, Wednesday, Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez against Skubal and Morton. Skubal, of course, the better of the two, 2.42 ERA. Morton with a 5.2. This one is fouled off. First pitch to Gleyber Torres. 1 out, nobody on here in the bottom of the third. Here comes the pitch. That's grounded to third. Correa grabs it, fires to first base. Nice toss. Out number 2. 2 up and 2 down. Kerry Carpenter due up. Arrighetti having an opposite inning so far compared to the way it started off last inning. Here comes the first pitch to Carpenter. A little outside on the fastball, ball 1. Travis says, I grew up with someone named J. Paul, but that was like his first name. Confused me as a child. J. Paul? J. Paul was his first name? Here comes a pitch. I was always confused by people who had like 2 first names. Their family name and their first name sounded like first names, or their first name and family name sounded like family names. Those always confused me. Here comes a 1-1, or 2-0 pitch rather. It's 2-1 now with that foul ball at the plate on the changeup, low in the zone. 2-1. 2 outs, nobody on. Arrighetti facing the Carpenter. Good question, Travis. I think we can. Right in there. Nice pitch. Changeup. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Arrighetti 1 strike away from having a nice clean inning here. That is a good question, though, Travis. Can we score first today? I believe we can. But we're going to have to move the runners to the plate. We can't just get on base. We got to move them to the plate. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Way high. Full count. Every time I see Arrighetti, it makes me feel sad about the long hair that I used to have. My hair used to be actually longer than that. That's high, ball 4. He misses with the Swiffer. Best thing about having long, beautiful hair as a guy is that the girls love it. I know it sounds silly, but if you have really nice looking hair and you take good care of it, if you're a man and you have this nice long hair and you take really good care of it, you make it look really nice, the girls go crazy over it. There were so many girls back in the day when my hair was really blonde and beautiful. They were so jealous. But then I got married to a redhead that stressed the crap out of me and almost destroyed my life. Caused me to thin out a lot on top. Got to figure out how to regrow it. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strikes to right. 1 strikes. 1 strikes. 1 balls, 1 strikes. Riley Green at the plate with a 1-1 count. Runner on first with 2 outs. Here comes the 1-1 toss. That's crushed out to right field. Holy cow. Way up there, but foul. Massive upper decker. Estimated to be 427 feet. About 20 feet to the right of the foul pole. That was nuts. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Come on, Arrighetti. Toss some spaghetti. This is hit into left field, and good catch by Melton. Diving catch into left center field. That could have been bad. But it turns into the end of the 3rd. Good job, Blade Rogers. Another adult-style catch by Jacob Melton, using the power of his mustache to end the inning. Arrighetti gets out of a minor jam in the top of the 4th. We go into, in the bottom of the 3rd. We go into the top of the 4th. Christian Walker, Victor Caratini, and Yainer Diaz due up. Let's see here. What's going on in the Chizat? Shake says, "Come on, Astros. Let's get the hot bat." Absolutely, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's get the hot bat. Fred says, Christian Javier also have 2 very common first names in Spanish. Sometimes I call him Javier Christian. Yeah, you know, for me, I never really think about that because my Spanish is terrible. So I probably wouldn't notice that. No, unless it was like 2 obvious, like really, really strong names, like Martinez. Can you imagine a guy whose first name is Martinez? Maybe Martinez Sanchez or something like that. That would be a little strange to me. I would catch that. If it were like a very common couple of names, then that would seem strange to me. But I didn't think too much about Christian Javier. Denny McLain. He won 30 games in 68 for the Tigers. Denny McLain, I don't know any details, but I do know the name. I definitely recognize the name. First pitch is already on the way to Walker. 91 in the bottom of the zone. Strike one. That umpire likes the bottom of the zone, so they're going to have to watch that. The Astros batters need to pay attention to those low pitches. Here comes the 0-1. 90 at the top of the zone, fouled off. He probably could have just let that one go and get a ball. Umpire's not calling the upper zone. No balls. 2 strikes. Yeah, it was a sad game. Let's forget about that one. There was no game last night. What game are you talking about? Astros didn't have any games. They had 3 days off. Here's the pitch, the 0-2. This is hit down the left side, down the third base side. That's fair. Christian Walker turns at first base, but he's not able to go to second. A single for Christian Walker to start this off. A bouncer right down the line. If you're kind of wondering why is it not a double, it's because the left fielder was actually able to get out there pretty quick. It didn't go all the way to the corner. Victor Caratini at the plate with Walker on first, no outs. This is a second opportunity for Caratini to move a runner around. He had bases loaded last at bat and was not able to do it. Let's see if we can get something from the Batman this time. Come on, Caratini, you can do it. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Outside, ball 2. Yeah, Melton's defense is good. I mean, if it weren't, he wouldn't be here, that's for sure. Yeah, the Mets did us a favor for sure. They helped us out. A Smucker's Little Jam. That's right, we got a little jam. Right in the bottom of the zone, 85 miles an hour. Strike one. 2-1 against Caratini. If Yonder gets a hit, we win. That's pretty interesting. Doesn't matter what kind of hit, just any hit. Then we will win. Hector Harris. You could call him Nectar. That's in there for strike 2. 2-2 against the Batman. Mariners losing. If we win our games, no need to scoreboard watch. Even if we just play 500 ball, it'll be hard for the Mariners to take the lead. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Caratini goes down. And see, this is what happens when you take a guy who's hot and you take him out of the game. You take him out of multiple games. Caratini was on fire, and Espada just kept putting Diaz in there and Walker instead of Caratini, who was super hot, and now Caratini has gone cold. Good job. Diaz is at the plate with 1 out, runner on first. Diaz grounds into what appears to be a double play on the very first pitch, and it is. So no hit for Diaz. So there we go. The drive killer once again. If it's not Walker, it's Diaz. And if it's not Diaz, it's Walker. Oh, man. Disappointing. 1 runner on, nothing doing. So we get a guy on with no outs. And then it's strikeout double play. That's it for the top of the 4th. We go into the bottom of the 4th. Eric Getty gets almost no rest. He's up to 28 pitches. No, I'm sorry, 48 with 28 strikes. 45 pitches, 28 strikes. 3 hits for the Astros, 2 hits for the Tigers. It's one of those games. Nothing but goose eggs on the board right now. Keep hearing something from over there, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, Gregory is right. We need to help out the pitcher. Arrighetti he's gotten into a little bit of a jam once, but he got out of it. He deserves for us to be putting some runs on the board. Pablo says if it weren't for baseball, half the Astros would be working on a sugar plantation. Yeah, probably in the sugar cane fields of Louisiana, out there in the hot, humid weather. Guess who was brought back to the Astros today? Taylor Scott. First pitch is fouled down the third baseline by Spencer Torkelson, strike one. You know, Taylor Scott actually went over to the Diamondbacks earlier this year, got back into the minor league system of the Astros, and he was just recalled. He's in the bullpen right now. That pitch is on the outside edge. Looked like a ball, but the umpire liked it. It's fine by me. 0-2 is the count. On the screen it says 1-1, but that's incorrect. It's 0-2. Here comes the next pitch. Way outside and low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's hilarious how when the pitch is obviously a ball or obviously a strike, and they change it to that on the screen, but the umpire calls something different. I always find that hilarious. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Nice Swiffer. Torkelson tries to put some torque on it, but it doesn't matter. You can put all the torque in the world you want on that. If you don't touch the ball, nothing doing. That's a strikeout. 1 down. Astros bullpen that they've got available right now. Abreu, Brian King, Taylor Scott haven't pitched anything recently. First pitch is in there for ball 1 to Winfield Perez. Swing and a miss, low and inside. 0-2. Yiners leading the league in GIDP. That's funny. Here's 0-2. One ball, 2 strikes to Perez. 1 out, nobody on. Here in the bottom of the 4th. Hey, Prodigy with another nice $2 super chat. Arigato. Thank you so much for that. That next pitch is fouled off. The count remains 1-2 to Perez. That means that $4 total, that's enough to get me breakfast if I want to go down to the cafe for breakfast, but I won't be able to do that today. That pitch is outside, 2-2. The 4-seam fastball missing wide. I think this game today will be over if it goes standard length. Maybe that wouldn't be enough time to go down to the cafe for breakfast. This is hit hard again to right field, but foul. Similar as before, but not quite as far. Travis says, I often yell from my couch about the stuff the Astros do. Watch out for this pitch, watch out for whatever. This is hit high out to right field. Might be dangerous out in the corner. Cam Smith is over. Whoo, man. That was home run right over the wall. About 4 feet foul. Wow. That was right there. Look how close that was. Just maybe 3 feet, if that, to the right. Holy cow. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Perez. Travis says that, but then after yelling, I remember I'm not playing MLB for a reason. Yeah, I get that. Here's a 2-2. Outside, full count. I'm not a manager for a reason. That's right. Sometimes we fancy ourselves as knowing what's better, you know. Fouled back. The cutter on the outside edge. The count remains full. Patrick asks a question. What players from the injuries list will be ready for playoffs for Astros? Well, Jordan, Alvarez, obviously. Jake Myers. Both of those are coming back soon. Garcia and JP France. This is hit hard out in the right field. It might be gone, and it is. So after threatening with 2 home run distance balls, Perez finally hits one out. So Perez actually had 2 foul balls that were home run distance, and then he finally hits one out. He was just playing around with it. Cutter up in the top of the zone. Oh, in the middle. 87-mile-per-hour cutter right in there. Well, that's what happens when a guy hits 2 home run distance foul balls, and then you give him a ball right in there. He's going to hit it out. 1-0, Tigers. 1 out, nobody on. Luckily, that was a solo shot. Here's the pitch. Dylan Dingler at the plate. They say that Hader should be back, or could be back, in time for the playoffs. So we'll see about that. 1 ball, 1 strike to Dingler. J. Paul says every single player has a hit for the Phillies against the Submariners. In the 3rd inning, that's crazy. Love to hear that, though. Makes their pitching staff look breakable. Fouls it off. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Dingler. Yeah, Albert, I feel you. I mean, Christian Walker is not a Gold Glove. He was a Gold Glover. Was. He's not bad, but he's not good. I would say he's on defense. He's good, but not really good. It's kind of hard to explain. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Dingler. Nobody on, 1 out. 63 pitches for Arrighetti. Here comes the next one. Check swing. Umpire at the home plate says that's definitely a swing. You're out, buddy. Strike 3. Out number 2. That's a K for Arrighetti. And Trey Sweeney comes to the plate. But here's the thing. I would say probably 98, 99% of the games that the Astros have played this year, I've been able to live stream. So I've seen a lot of batting and fielding by Christian Walker. And I can say one thing about his fielding. If there's a line drive to him or a ball in the dirt or something like that, he's really good with it. He's really good. First pitch is hit really hard to right field, but luckily it is contained in the field. Cam Smith puts it away at the warning track. That was another blast on the very first pitch. But Arrighetti gets lucky, and that's out number 3. 1-0, 3 hits for each team. The solo home run by Perez puts the Tigers up 1-0. Top of the 5th coming up. But what I was saying about Walker is on his defense, if there is a low throw from like one of the other infielders, he's able to scoop it up really well. If there's a line drive, he's able to snatch it up. If it's a one-hopper, he can scoop it up. If he has to dive for it, he can catch it. If it's above his head, he can jump up and grab it. He's good at quick stuff like that. It just requires like one action. Just one action. Okay? Scoop it up, catch it. Scoop it up, catch it. If it's just that, then Walker can do it no problem. But I'm telling you, this is not, what I'm about to tell you is it's not an opinion. It's an observation of fact about Christian Walker. And here it is. If the defensive play requires multiple actions, Walker breaks down, and most of the time he messes up. So, for example, let's say that there is a line drive shot that bounces right in front of him, and there's a guy on first base who's running to second. He has to scoop it up, touch first base, and throw it to second. This becomes a complicated play. It becomes a compound play. It's not as simple as just scoop it up, touch the base. If it's just scoop it up, touch the base, it's no problem. But if there's only one out or no outs, then that means he needs to make multiple plays. And this is where Christian Walker breaks down. It's like he can't process so many things so quickly. He's not good at that. So in my mind, he's not a Gold Glover. Now, he did get a Gold Glove a while back, but he's not Gold Glove this year. There's no way that he's going to win a Gold Glove this year because he can't handle complex plays on defense, at least not right now. 87 miles an hour at the bottom of the zone, just like that. Cam Smith is down 0-2 in the count to Flaherty. Flaherty is up to 62 pitches. Anyway, that's all I have to say about Christian Walker. We'll talk about his batting some other time. I don't even have to talk about his batting. That's above the zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Cam Smith. Cam is 0 for 1 today with a strikeout, I believe. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Right in there, strikeout number 2. Another strikeout looking for Cam Smith. Takes it right down the middle. We might want to teach Cam a lesson and send him back to the minors. Or send him to the minors. 1 away. Melton comes to the plate. Hopefully he will get hit by pitch again this at bat. And we can have a base runner. And he can steal second. Maybe steal third. Maybe steal home. Here comes the first pitch. Below the zone, but strike 1 because the umpire likes those. The Astros batter should know that by now. I think I should be the hitting coach, or at least the hitting strategy coach, because I can watch these and see what they're supposed to do. That one's in the dirt. 1-1 is the count. Albert says, I have heart problems. At first I thought, I read that as I have love problems. It's hard to watch games like this. I understand. Here comes the 1-1. On the outside edge, strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 out, nobody on. Astros like taking those strikes, baby. Swing at the ones that are far down, far outside, far inside. Take the ones down the middle. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. 93 in the top of the zone, fouled off. The count remains 1-2. I wouldn't say that Diaz is far worse than Walker. I definitely don't agree with that. Here comes the pitch in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Blade Rogers at the plate, otherwise known as Jacob Melton. Dingleberry. Here comes the toss. Outside, way outside. They set up outside hoping that Melton would go after it, but I wouldn't say that he's going to chase a pitch like that. It wasn't even slightly competitive. Full count. Let's do something. Get hit or get a walk. Yeah, low inside. Oh, man. The umpire, well, you know, once again, I'm not surprised. Umpire did a slow ring up. Melton is laughing about it. But you know what? Look, take a look at this. Umpire called that a strike. But here's the problem. Like I said, the umpire's been calling those low. It was a terrible call. But then again, once again, the umpire has been calling those low pitches strikes. That's 2 up and 2 down. Nobody on, and Jeremy Pena at the plate. Too far inside, ball 1. How long has it been since we've seen a Jeremy Pena line drive home run? It's been a few games. A few games. Here comes the pitch. He taps that one to third. Looks like he's going to get thrown out at first, and sure enough, he does. That's 3 up and 3 down. Nothing doing in the top of the fifth. The Astros have 3 hits through 5. Offense continuing to look like it did in the last series so far. The few runners that we've had on were stranded. We had bases loaded at one point, got nothing from it. And since then, it's been nothing. We're going to the bottom of the fifth. Arrighetti back on the mound in just a moment with 65 pitches. Javier Baez due up. Let's take a look at the live chat. It's a little more interesting than what's going on in the game so far. It's time to step up, Shake says. Astros, still a 1-run game for now. They need to. Hey, Elvis, how's it going? Not near July. Gregory says Tigers suck. They score a run and we can't. If the Tigers suck and they score 1 run, what does it say about the Astros, right? No comment. Travis says best case scenario is Hader's back. Well, you know, the way I look at it is having Hader back is fine and all, but even with Hader back, I'm actually more excited about Garcia and France coming back. And for those of you who might be wondering why are you so excited about JP France coming back? Because France has been doing amazingly well, and Luis Garcia is the same. They've been having some really, really good success, right? Just recently in the minors. You might think, well, it's the minors. Yeah, but when your returning pitchers are tossing a lot of strikeouts, few walks, not allowing runs, and they're coming back from rehab assignments, that's nice. That's good news. It's really good news. First pitch is a nice Swiffer, swing and a miss. That was a good pitch. Nice movement there. 0-1 to Baez. So I'm excited about those guys coming back, and Jordan and Myers. He puts this one in the air. Altuve's back, and he puts it away for out number 1 right on the edge of the grass. 1 away. Hey, baby. So one thing they never show, like the Astros dancers or cheerleaders, they show them in the advertisements here, right? But they never actually show them in the game. At least in the football games, they sometimes show the cheerleaders. Bottom of the zone, strike 1, curveball. Perfectly placed. At the very least, Arrighetti seems to realize that the umpire calls those low pitches. If he can remember that and keep it down there. This one's line drive out into right field off the wall. It's going to be a double. Looks like he's booking it. Here's the throw. The throw is there, but just a little off. He had a rush, but he got a double. What I was just saying is that if Arrighetti could keep that ball down at the bottom of the zone or below, he could do well. But this one goes right in the middle of the zone, so he misses the mark. See, right now, Arrighetti's got it figured out. He knows where to throw the ball. It's just a matter of getting it there. If it's right in the middle of the zone, he gets punished. It kind of sucks because he only has one area he can throw the ball, and that's at the bottom of the zone or below it. Curveball. No, that was a Swiffer. Right in there for strike 1 to Gleyber Torres. Runner on second with 1 out. 4 hits now for the Tigers, that double. Here comes the next pitch. Outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's a good-looking guy. Who do you mean, Hader? Are you talking about Melton out in center field? Who are you talking about there, Gregory? Who's the handsome guy? Up and in. Ball 2, 2-1. Torres. Take him out of the game. Defensive switch. Are you talking about Walker? Here comes the pitch. Low and inside in the dirt. 3 balls and 1 strike to Torres. Patrick, I don't think that Diaz swings at crazy air. His problem is the slider or the Swiffer that's outside and low. Those pitches really get his attention. He goes after them too much. Sometimes he seems like he's got himself under control, and other times he doesn't. That's high for ball 4. A 5-pitch walk to Gleyber Torres. We have runners on first and second with 1 out. But the double play is back on the board, so maybe that's Arrigetti's plan. Well, I will say this. This umpire has been consistent with 2 things, okay? One is the high pitch. Even if it's in the zone, he doesn't like it. He lays off most of the time. The second thing is the low pitches. He consistently calls them a strike. Looks like Arrigetti knows that, so it's just a matter of execution. Here's the pitch. Well, that one was at the bottom of the zone, but the Tigers are going to get another run out of that. That's going to be a double. They're going to wave in another guy. He's going for 3. Here's a throw home. It's too late. That's a triple. 3-0 Tigers. Breaking ball. How much movement did it have on it? Yeah, not too much. Not enough. Arrigetti gives up a big triple there. 3-0. Yeah, that right there, that one hurt. That one hurt. Riley Green at the plate with a runner on third and 1 out. Here comes the first pitch. He crushes that one to right field. That's going to be gone. 2 more runs. Very first pitch. Gone. Kid you not. 2-run homer. Riley Green. 5-0. The game is now over. Just like that. 2 pitches. 4 runs. Arrigetti's not looking good at all this game now. Suddenly all of those foul balls, the home runs, all of these deep shots off the wall, over the fence, foul ball over the fence, upper deckers, 427 feet. Josh Miller's coming out nice and slow. Probably giving the Astros bullpen a chance to get warmed up, because that's going to be it for him, I'm sure. Very soon, Arrigetti's day will be over. Well, so much for Arrigetti. We can't depend on him. But like I said, what I said earlier is even more important. Getting Garcia back and getting France back, I believe, are key. They are key. Getting Yordan Alvarez and Myers back, they are key. Those 4 things matter very much for offense and defense. Torkelson at the plate with nobody on and 1 out. Here comes a homer. He fouls it off. 0-1 is the count. I don't even know what to say right now. Still fight for... That's funny. He said, I heard Jose Abreu is one of the hitting coaches. Yeah, probably so. Here's the pitch. Oh and 2, swing and a miss on the curveball. Here comes the 0-2 pitch in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Torkelson. It's so sad. 4 innings go by, 1 solo home run. Arrigetti gets out of a bases loaded jam and then gives up 4 runs. I feel sorry for him. He was doing so well. I was about to say 5 innings of 1-run ball. That's awesome. We need that. But 5 runs. No, that's... Can't have that. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Torkelson. 6 hits for the Tigers now. A little outside. Full count. Shake, that's an easy question. Why do you think he's still pitching? It's easy. This is ripped foul down the third baseline. Nice hard line drive. They're still hitting the ball really hard off of Arrighetti. Arrighetti gave up 4 runs and 2 hits. And when it happens that fast and the pitching coach comes out, you have to give your bullpen time to warm up. So you can't just pull him out immediately. 91 up and in. That's ball 4. I thought you would know that, Shake. If you watch enough games, I don't know how many games you actually watch, but if you notice that a majority of the time whenever the pitching coach comes out in a situation like this, it's to buy some time so that the bullpen can get warmed up. They can't just bring him in cold, you know. 77 miles an hour on the outside edge. Yeah, right now they got Taylor Scott warming up out there. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Nope. Throws over to first base. Torkelson is back. Right now, Taylor Scott is a coin toss. Who knows what you're going to get? Are you going to get awesome Scott? Or give up the game Scott? One of those. It feels like all of the Astros pitchers are like that right now. All of the relievers basically are a coin toss. Either they're going to be locked down or just give up 5 runs. 1 ball, 1 strike to Perez. Here comes the pitch. The runner is stealing. This is hit into center field, and that's going to be down. Torkelson will go all the way over to third. Runners on the corners with 1 out. So that might be it for Arrighetti. Let's see if they bring in Scott. Is Espada going to come out and take him out? The changeup, but not too far down. Not enough movement on that ball. Arrighetti's not getting the movement that he was earlier. One out, runners on the corners. We've been stuck on 1 out for a very, very, very long time. Dylan Dingler at the plate. 7 hits now allowed by Arrighetti. Scott's still warming up in the bullpen. Here's the first pitch to Dingler. No, he goes over to first base. Runner is back. Yeah, that last pitch was in the bottom of the zone. It was a changeup, but it didn't have much movement on it. Those pitches get punished. On the inside, nice curveball there. Strike 1. Here comes the next toss. The runner is stealing second base, no throw by Caratini. Runners on second and third with 1 out. Shake, I disagree. Giving up 1 hit? You said after the downfall first hit? Are you talking about after the double? But even so, it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, the very next pitch was the homer, you know? That's still not enough time to bring your reliever in. He needs more time to warm up than that. That ball is outside and low. Good catch by Caratini. 2 balls and 1 strike to Dingler. I think you're underestimating the amount of time that somebody needs to warm up. Diving catch by Correa at third base on the line drive, and he's able to step on the bag and touch the base for an unassisted double play. So there's a highlight right there. A little silver lining. That was a line drive shot. If Correa had not caught that, it would have scored potentially 2 runs. At least 1 run would have scored if not 2. But Correa not only stopped runs from scoring, he ended the inning. Caught the line drive, stepped on the bag, unassisted double play. Defense comes through again for the Astros, but we've got a lot of work to do. 7 hits for the Tigers, 4 runs scored that inning, and 5 total on the board in just the 4th and the 5th inning. So after 3 innings of shaky but solid work, Arrighetti just starts to come apart. Now it's up to the Astros offense and their relievers. I'm going to go get some hot water and make myself another cup of coffee. I'll be right back. Go Astros. Correa at the plate on an 0-2 pitch, grounds out to the shortstop. Before I can get back and get into my chair, we got 1 out. Jack Flaherty is still on the mound. He's at 76 pitches right now. Altuve at the plate. He goes after that first pitch right in the zone. He fouls it back. The catcher is looking for it. Looks like he's got a play, and he puts it away. Very first pitch, fouled out. That's 2 pop outs for Altuve. 1 to the infield and 1 to the catcher. 1 pitch, 1 out. Still nothing doing. 14 2/3 of an inning without a single run scored by the Astros. Fox, you're half right. You said the problem remains the offense, but I half agree. Of course, we need to put runs on the board, but when we're giving up 5, 7, 12, 14 runs, I mean, come on now. The problem is pitching and batting. It's both. It's 50-50. Here's the pitch. Outside. I mean, if you think that the batters are somehow going to make the pitchers get inspired and pitch better, that's not true. That's not possible. Here comes the second pitch to Sanchez. There we go. Below the zone by a good couple of inches and called a strike. Got to get used to this umpire a little faster than the 6th inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 outs, nobody on for Sanchez. Here comes the pitch from Flaherty. That one's in the dirt. 2-1. Taylor Scott still out in the bullpen getting ready to go, so seems pretty self-assured or pretty assured that we're going to be not seeing Arrighetti anymore. And that one was also below the zone but called a strike. Sanchez still hasn't learned. Do the Astros not have any coaches telling the batters that the umpire is calling the balls below the zone and not calling the high pitches strikes? Is nobody telling them that? Grounded to first base. He tosses to Flaherty, who covers, and that's out number 3. The Astros do nothing again in the 6th inning. You know, I really don't get it, because think about this. It's the end of the top of the 6th, okay? I'm just a guy sitting here in the countryside with a nice, beautiful view of the forest and the mountain back here, watching the game on the MLB network. I'm not a coach. You know, I used to play a lot of ball. Baseball and basketball, track and field. I used to play all the time. So I understand the sport. But the thing is, I'm just a guy watching the game. That's all I am. I'm just a guy watching the game. I'm sitting here, and anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. And I can see very clearly from early on in the game that the umpire is calling the high pitches balls and the balls below the zone strikes. And I just have to wonder, is that information getting to the pitcher? Is that information getting to the batters? And if not, why not? Because it doesn't look to me, it looked like Arrighetti was aware of what the umpire was doing, but he wasn't executing. Overall, he wasn't executing perfectly. He got lit up on some pitches that didn't have enough movement, breaking balls that didn't have enough break. When his ball was breaking, it was working really well. But when it didn't, he got punished. So placement was Arrighetti's problem. He just had some placement problems today. I don't think that he was in the dark about the umpire. I think that he just had placement problems. Taylor Scott is warming up on the mound right now. He just took his last warm-up pitch. But the batters, the Astros batters, look like they're completely not aware of how the umpire is calling the ball. So what about the hitting coach? Is the hitting coach, has he not noticed what I've noticed? Because we're not talking about a sometimes thing. We're talking about an entire game thing. The umpire has been calling this way the entire game. And the Astros are just taking those low pitches and striking out. I don't get it. It makes me wonder if I can do it, and I'm just a guy sitting here watching it on TV. Then what in the world are the coaches doing? 1-0 is the count. This one's hit into center field. Melton is back. That's going to be off the wall. Sweeney is heading to second. Melton brings it in. He's going for 3. Pena's going to throw it, but it's not in time. That's a triple. Leadoff triple by Trey Sweeney off of Taylor Scott. You know what? I'm going to go grab my hot water. I'll be right back. Runner on third, no outs. Javier Baez due up. 1 moment. Fastball right down the middle to Baez, strike 1. So now we're going to see what kind of information Taylor Scott has in his head about this umpire and what kind of control he has. 93 miles an hour, bounced to Walker at first base, and he takes it himself. Runner stays at third, 1 away. I need to get a... Man, how in the world did I get so many coffee grounds inside my filter? That's nuts. Next batter is Colt Keith. This is hit high and hard out to center field, and that's going to score a run on the tag for sure. Sweeney books it home, and that's 6-0. So the Tigers are even able to get runs on the sacrifice fly. 2 away. Taylor Scott now with an earned run on the board. Gleyber Torres at the plate, 0 for 2 today. Let's see if he's going to join the hit party. All right. I've got my filter all cleaned up. First pitch from Taylor Scott on the way. Fouls it off. No, that was a tip into the glove of Caratini. 0-1 is the count. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. 89-mile-per-hour splitter right in there for strike 2. 0-2 is the count. If the Astros don't get their pitching together, the season is over. There's no chance to get into even a wild card spot without the pitching. That's just a fact. If we go back and we look, 1 ball, 2 strikes, by the way, to Torres. That was outside. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Outside, check swing. He did not go. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The whole reason the Astros got to where they were in the first half of the season is because of the pitching. It wasn't because of the amazing hitting. The hitting was mediocre, but it was good enough to win with the good pitching. But now we don't have the good pitching. What happened there? Timer violation. That's a walk. So it was 2-2. Taylor Scott got a timer violation, made it 3-2. Next pitch is a ball. Torres lumbers to first base. He looks like a big man. Runner on first base with 2 outs. That brings up Kerry Carpenter, who has a triple and 2 RBIs and a run. Tigers with 2 triples today. There we go again. 92 at the top of the zone. Ball 1. There. That's what I'm talking about. That was a strike. But the umpire does not call it. Why are we throwing high strikes? So, Taylor Scott, what are you doing? Here comes a 1-0 pitch. No, he goes over to first base. I don't know why. I guess he wanted to reset the pitch clock because that guy I don't think is running. I don't think that Gleyber Torres is a speed demon. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Outside. 2-0. Runner on first. 2 outs. Kerry Carpenter at the plate. Facing Taylor Scott. Here comes the pitch. Outside. Ball 3. 3-0. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Steel. We've Steel Viper says we've been shut out 2 of the last 3 and being shut out right now. 4-pitch walk by Scott. That's back-to-back walks. So with 2 outs and no runners on, back-to-back walks. Now we have 2 runners on. Unfortunately, Espada doesn't have many choices for relievers. We're really hurting right now for pitchers. Here comes the pitch. 83 on the inside corner. Finally a strike. Riley Green at the plate. He's got a 2-run homer. If you count the foul balls, maybe 3. Low inside in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Yeah, Charlie, Taylor Scott's back, but he's not looking... He's looking like bad Scott, not the good Scott. He's one of those two-faced pitchers, you know. Here comes the pitch. High and outside. A lot of people were critical of why they brought him back because they were nostalgic about his little short good run that he had with the Astros one time. But since then, he hasn't been good, so they were kind of wondering why he was brought back. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Green. It's interesting comment, Albert. They are pro ball players. They should know how to adjust. Here comes the 2-2 pitch, fouled off. Fastball on the outside edge. 2 runners on, 2 outs, 2 balls, 2 strikes. 20th pitch coming up for Taylor Scott in just a moment. You would think that they know how to adjust, but I don't even think that they should have to adjust. They should just already be hitting well. But it's difficult to know what to think whenever your entire batting staff is slumping and your entire pitching staff is... I mean, they've got lots of injuries, obviously, but they've also... The guys that they do have are struggling. So what do you do when your whole team is struggling? That's a bouncer to Christian Walker, who steps on the base and gets the 3rd out, so the inning is over. Scott gives up 1 run. Not a disaster, but considering how the Astros were already down 5-0. It's 6-0 at the end of 6. Astros giving up an average of 1 run per inning. Top of the 7th coming up. We've got 3 more innings to do something. We got to make up 2 runs per inning just to tie it up and have an opportunity to put it into extra innings. Christian Walker due up, followed by Caratini and Diaz. Let me try to get caught up here now. Whoa! Yeah, I poured a lot more hot water in there than I should have. And my cup of coffee is way over full. I think I know what I did wrong. I think I still had a little bit left in the bottom of the cup. My bad. Well, I'd rather have too much coffee than not enough. That's for sure. Clean up on aisle 2. Or is it aisle 7? I can't remember. Or does it really matter? Maybe it doesn't matter. Oh, that's soaked. Well, there's one good thing about doing the Astros games here on YouTube. If the Astros aren't playing very well, we can always make the chat interesting, I think. We can always enjoy each other's company. You know, who was it mentioned earlier? The heart problem. Can't take these games. It was Albert. Albert says he has heart problems. Can't take these games. The damage that these games can cause. Yeah, I mean, I understand. I've got cancer issues. Walker at the plate. Takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. So the stress of the game, something that I definitely don't need. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Fouls it off. For those of you dealing with any type of serious illness, one day you think, I can do this, I'm going to beat this, and then the next day, or maybe in the middle of the night, or whatever the way you feel, you're like, I think I'm about to die. That's my life right now. Sometimes I wonder When will my last live stream be? Here's the next pitch, 1-1 in the dirt outside, 2-1. And then some days I'm like, I can do this. It's a roller coaster. That's why I realized that in order to keep doing the live stream, I have to kind of detach myself from how well the Astros are doing. It's an important lesson in life, I believe. Here's the 2-1 pitch rather. Now it's 2-2, swing and a miss by Walker. It could be, but it's okay. Could be. Game could get uglier, but no big deal. It really doesn't matter right now if it gets worse. Here's the pitch. 93, up in the zone, swing and a miss. It's another strikeout. 9 strikeouts in this game for Flaherty. That ties his high strikeouts for this season. What's up, Dram Bam? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Sorry about the score. Like we're putting the ball on a tee. Pitching machine with no movement. Caratini hits one out to center field. That's going to be played on the first pitch for out number 2. Diaz due up next. 2 up and 2 down. Yeah, Albert, you're right. It is like they know what pitch is coming. It feels like the Red Sox and the Orioles, you know. It's literally like all of these teams just know what they're going to be pitching. And shoot, you're right that the team is going the wrong way right now, but it has been a very short bad run if you think about it, because before the Orioles, you know, we were winning the series. So even though we did take one, we played like trash, right? We played like trash against the Orioles and we still won one game. I mean, it took 12 innings, but we didn't get swept. And before that, we won several series in a row, so you know, that's a tapper back to the pitcher who lobs it to first base. Diaz goes down easily. 3 up and 3 down. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Taylor Scott might be back out on the mound. I don't think that Espada has much of a choice, but we'll see. We're on a short little break right now. Commercial break. Let's go back to the chat and see what's going on. Yeah, we haven't been able to get a sacrifice fly. We haven't gotten anything so far, but it's okay. Pablo says simulcast the Texans. Well, you know, I actually did a poll for those of you who saw it. I did a community poll. I posted a community post on my website, on my YouTube page, and it said, are you guys and gals interested in me doing the Texans games, or should I just focus on the Astros games? And there was little to no interest at all in me doing the Texans games, and so I've decided to not do the Texans games. And I think that's the best decision for a couple of reasons. Number one is that I think most of you don't want that. Most of you really just want to be here for the Astros games and Astros content. The other thing is that it gives me a chance to continue to focus on Astros content even during the off season. I can make a lot of interesting stuff because I want to do some like mini documentaries. I want to do some highlights. I'd like to go back and look at some of the previous successes that the Astros had during the year or during the season, and look at some historical things and put those videos together and post those. If I'm doing the Texans games, then it would distract me from doing Astros stuff. The other thing is that, I mean, my channel's not a Texans channel, right? It's an Astros channel. First pitch on the way to Torkelson, and that is outside. Scott is on the mound again for the Astros. 1 ball, no strikes. Here's the toss. Below the zone. Just a little low. He tried to put it in there. He tried to put it in the bottom of the zone. Or rather at the bottom where the umpire likes it, but it was just a little too low. 2-0 is the count. Here comes the toss. Another one in the lower part of the zone, but too much in there, not enough movement. Hit up the middle for a single. One runner on with no outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Thank you, Steel Viper. I appreciate that. But you know, I've said this before. For those of you who haven't heard me say it, I said it probably a lot when I first started this channel, but when the Oilers left Houston, I just lost my desire for NFL. I don't care really about NFL. If you were all really supportive of me, that's a fly out to left field. Runner stays at first base. Two outs now. No, I'm sorry, one out. What am I thinking? One out. One runner on first. And that brings up Dylan Dingler. But if all of you were really big into the Texans and really wanted me to do Texans, then I would definitely do it. But there was no real support for that. So I decided not to do it. Strike one on the inside edge. Yeah, Fox at bat, you're right. Fox says at some point the Astros have to recover. I still have confidence that this can change. I agree. 92 right in there. Two good pitches from Scott, and the count is 0-2 to Dingler. Like I said, if you think about it, the Astros, they got a couple of key pitchers coming back, a couple of key hitters coming back. Scott steps off the mound to take a break, reset the clock. But also, up into that Orioles series, the Astros weren't playing too badly. They were winning their series, This is hit into left field for another single on the 0-2 pitch. Runners at first and second. Man, that's disappointing right there. Dingler with the single. Dingler with the singler. You can't throw something like that on an 0-2 pitch. Of course, once again, whatever Taylor Scott was trying to do there, it's just a matter of execution. I'm not going to assume that what he did was what he was trying to do. Here comes the next pitch. Trey Sweeney now at the plate. Sweeney had a big hit earlier. 0-1. A triple and one run scored for Sweeney. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, low and inside. It's interesting because if you take away the hits that Scott has given up since he came in the game last inning, he's actually not looking bad. Same thing with Arrighetti, though. Just the misses, He got punished big time. Here comes the 0-2. Let's see if we can get the strikeout here. No, up and outside. 1-2 is the count. I use don't preach to me, okay? Never come in here and preach to me. Here comes the pitch. Low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Whenever you come in here into my chat and you say, I've been telling you for a while that blah, 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 you make it sound like you're talking down to me, or that, everything that you're saying is God's gospel and everything that I'm saying is wrong. That's preaching at somebody. And you're historically a negative person. So don't come in here saying stuff like that in my channel. I never said. See, you're making it sound like whatever you're saying is right, and I've always been against what you're saying. But you're misrepresenting me and everything I've ever said. So don't come into my channel and do that. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. That's hit hard to right field. It could be gone, and it is. That's another home run. Given up by Scott. 3-run shot. It's 9-0 now. What were you saying about pitching, Ayush? Pitching isn't a sustainable way of winning? Well, it's kind of funny. Because they could use some pitching right now, that's for sure. 9-0 with 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. If it's not fun to watch them, then don't watch them. I'm going to put you in timeout because I don't feel like reading your negative comments. I have no room in my life for negativity like that. You can go somewhere else with those comments. First pitch to the next batter, Javier Baez, is a strike. 0-1 is the count. 1 out, nobody on base, thanks to that base clearing 3-run homer. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. You see what I mean? Taylor Scott gets like the 0-2 count several times in this inning, and then he just leaves one in the wrong spot, and they get a hit, they get a single, they get a double, they get a triple, they get a homer. Let's see what happens here on the 0-2. Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. You know, I am kind of with the people who are questioning bringing back Taylor Scott because it was one of those nostalgic things. Here's the 1-2. Outside in the dirt, the count is 2-2. Taylor Scott had a little stint where he was just stellar for the Astros, but his career and what he's done, what he did after that, what he did while he was away, has just been really bad. And then they brought him back, so the question was why. Strike 3. He does get a strikeout there, a swing and a miss, another pitch way outside. Don't know why Baez went after that one, but Scott does get the strikeout. 2 away. 11 hits for the Tigers and 9 runs. This game is a throwaway game. I say we just bring in all of our bench guys and let the other guys rest. Maybe they're just sick or something. Maybe everybody's got the flu. First pitch is a sinker right in there for strike 1 to Colt Keith. Tigers fans get a good game today, right? Ball 1, 1-1. Daryl, thank you so much. Daryl says I'm a blessing. I appreciate that. It's nice to see some positive comments in the chat today. Here comes the pitch. That's blasted to right field. Might be another homer, and it is. 10-0. Not kidding. Colt Keith blasts one out. Taylor Scott looks perplexed. Taylor Scott has now given up 5 runs, or is that 4 runs this inning? 4 runs, 2 home runs, a 3-run homer, and a 1-run solo homer. You know, hitting doesn't matter when you got pitching like this. I mean, the fact is you need both, and that's they finally pull Scott out. That's going to be it. I feel bad for him because he had a short run with the Astros, and then since then he has been like he is right now, you know. And so that's why, like I said, I mean, I don't know what you guys and gals know. I'm not an Astros guru. I don't study all of the details of everything that's going on with the Astros and their trades and their guys in the minors and all this kind of stuff. But I will say this. The amount of information that I know about the Astros and the things that I've seen is well above the average person. And it's not because of anything special about me. It's just because of what I'm doing with my channel. When I'm not doing my live streams, for those of you who saw my recent video that shows my life out here in the countryside, while I'm walking around my house, cutting grass, and trying to repair the house and doing cleaning and things like that, I've got my earphones in, and I'm listening to podcasts of the Astros and Astros Talk and this and that. So I'm hearing a lot of different channels. I'm subscribed to a bunch of different channels, and sometimes when I'm listening to them, I think that what they're saying is useless or a waste of time, so I'll just skip it and go to another channel. Sometimes I think they have some really good points, but the main reason I listen to them is not for their opinions so much as it is for facts. I'm listening for data and information. And one of the bits of information about Taylor Scott that I heard was that, you know, some of the things that I already knew, which is he had a short stint with the Astros where he did really well, but then he fell apart, and he was out of the system. He was onto the Diamondbacks, and then the Astros brought him back into the minors in their minor league system, and now they called him up, and people started asking why. He hasn't done anything to prove that he should be back on the Astros staff. And I agreed with that. As much as I liked Scott when he was here before, during that short time, I agreed because he had basically fallen off the wagon. And just now, his appearance in this game just now proves that perception was correct. Brian King is on the mound now. A guy that I really, really grew to like, who's had some trouble this year. Two balls and one strike to Gleyber Torres. Here comes the next pitch from King. That's in there. Swiffer. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I would love nothing more than to see 3 up and 3 down really quickly from King. Here comes the pitch. Fouled off. Yeah, Crispy, you're right. They have been having their worst time of the season recently. This is fouled off. Count remains 2-2. Charlie, you're right. I don't like it either. But, you know, think about how it happens to every team. It's happened to the Dodgers. It's happened to the Yankees. It's happened to the Cubs. Everybody. Strike 3. Brian King gets a strikeout. So, King comes in and ends the inning. King comes in and picks up the strikeout to end the inning. It makes me wonder if we're going to see Brian King in the 8th. We might, because I don't think we have a lot of pitching depth available right now. We don't have a lot of arms that are warm and ready to go. King gets that quick strikeout with just 7 pitches and 5 strikes. Maybe we'll see him in the 8th. We'll see. Top of the 8th coming up. Astros coming back to the plate. Let's see if we can get some runs on the board and turn our hitting around. We started off pretty decent, loading up the bases, and it looked like we were going to actually score some runs, but we haven't done anything since then. Fred, you're right. It's too bad for Scott. Probably, well, I mean, that's nice. You said probably just to the stadium late after being called up. That's considerate of you to, but like I said, he hasn't been performing well, and I agree with the people that said we shouldn't have brought him back. I mean, I understand why they brought him back. We didn't have a lot of choices, but I believe that we could have found better instead of going with the old nostalgia. Maybe we can work with him and get him back to where he was. No, I didn't think so. And or at least I was questionable. And his outing just now shows me that he's not ready. He's going to go back to the minors. We might even release him after that. Back-to-back blowout shutouts. Yeah, and 3 blowout shutouts in 4 games. That's right. Crispy says the Astros decided it was a great idea to get washed out pitchers like Neris and Scott, but they remembered that they got rid of them for a reason. And now everyone wants Presley. Well, not everyone wants Presley back, but I will say this. Because of the way Neris has pitched, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of chatter in the Astros circles about, please, Lord, do not bring back Presley. Learn from Neris. Very first pitch, Cam Smith doesn't strike out this time, but he flies out to the second baseman. 1 pitch, 1 out. Troy Melton is now on the plate for the Tigers. I saw in the chat somebody said it's Brandon's fault. Yes, it's my fault. I did something that caused the Astros to lose so poorly like this. 96 miles an hour right in there. Melton can't handle it. 0-1 is the count. Here comes the next pitch. 86 miles an hour outside. 1-1. Melton is 0 for 1 today. He got hit by a pitch. That's his contribution to the team. He grounds this one to the second baseman. He fires it over. Out number 2. Troy Melton, the right-hander, also able to easily get outs against the Astros apparently. But the top of the batting order is up, so this is the test for the new pitcher. Can Jeremy Pena get something going with 2 outs? If the Astros are able to hit this pitcher, it should be the top of the batting order, right? Here's the first pitch to Pena. He fouls it off. That's better than a swing and a miss. 0-1 is the count. Angel says, worst case, we lose tonight. We're still 1.5 games on top. I think they would. I think we're like 0.5 right now. If we lose tonight, isn't it 1.5 if we win? I think if we lose, we're 0.5. 1 ball, 1 strike to Pena inside. Too far inside. 2-1 is the count. I'd like to take a look at the scores around the league in just a moment. We'll do that at the end of this inning. Next pitch is right in there. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Pena. 2 outs, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Looks like Pena got something in his eye. He was rubbing his eye over and over again. It's not Jacob Melton on the mound. It's Troy Melton. Swing and a miss. Pena goes down, striking out, and that's going to be it. 3 up and 3 down for the Astros. Nothing doing there. Let's take a look at some scores. Let's do something else. Let's see here. That first one doesn't matter. Who cares about that game? Cardinals Marlins 5-3 in the 8th. Blue Jays tied up with the Pirates in the 7th 2-2. The Submariners losing in the 7th 7-4. Let's hope that the Phillies hang on with that game. Orioles beating the Red Sox 2-0. They are on a roll right now, are they not? At the end of the 6th. White Sox beating up on the Braves 7-0. The Strangers losing 3-1 against the Royals in the 4th inning. Dodgers and Rockies just getting started. The Reds and the Angels later. Guardians, Diamondbacks, Giants, Padres all later. Brewers destroyed the Cubs, the Curbs, 7-0. There's that team that everybody says is a fluke. And they got a postponed game. Yeah, the Cubs is, the fans of the Cubs gotta be a little upset too. They were expecting to be much further along than what they are. Same with the Dodgers fans. Yankees fans gotta be livid right now, and they are, but they're always livid, to be fair. Let's see here. Crispy, I don't think that the Astros are giving up this year. I don't think they're giving up. That's extreme. Who do we have coming up? Now we do have Hunter Brown and Fromber on the mound in the next couple of games, so we still have a chance to win this series. Hunter Brown and Fromber have a good game, and we can actually get some bats on the ball. Check it out. McCormick is in the game. McCormick's our best reliever right now. First pitch is inside for a ball. Second one is just a little too far inside. Ball 2. 2-0. This is ripped foul down the third baseline. 2 balls and 1 strike. Jahmai Jones is at the plate. Here comes a pitch. Oh, he hit him. Runner on first with no outs. Next batter is Jake Rogers. It looks like the Tigers are bringing in a bunch of pinch hitters. 1-0 is the count. Ooh, swing and a miss. 67-mile-per-hour slider. 1-1. Here comes the pitch. Whoa, look at that. He got a call in the inside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 68-mile-per-hour slider. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss! Chas McCormick with an 82-mile-per-hour pitch. He strikes him out. Look at that. A strikeout by Chas McCormick. How about that? One out, 1 runner on first for Chas McCormick, who's now facing Andy Ibanez. That first pitch is high, ball 1. Here comes the next pitch. Oh, wow, the umpire called that a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here comes the pitch. Too far inside, 2-1. I'll tell you what, Steel Viper, he's giving up far fewer runs than the rest of the staff. They should. This is hit off the end of the bat into left field. Runners on first and second. So Chas has runners on first and second. 82-mile-per-hour slider. There's that strikeout. He was laughing about it. One out, 2 runners on. Here's the first pitch to Perez. Low and inside, ball 1. Here's the pitch. High, ball 2. Here comes a pitch. Top of the zone. Steel Viper says the Cubs fans are booing Kyle Tucker. Yeah, man. What goes around comes around. Everybody gets it, right? 3 balls and 1 strike now to Perez. Here comes the pitch. Way high, and the bases are now loaded. McCormick gets into a jam. Here comes the next pitch. Dylan Dingler at the plate takes strike 1. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. McCormick puts that one in. It could be a double play. There we go. Chas McCormick gets a double play, and he gets out of the jam without giving up a single run. 2 shutout innings in a row by Chas McCormick. He told them he wanted to keep the baseball after he got the strikeout. So once again, guys, I mean, this is the thing that I mentioned the other day. We bring in a position player. It doesn't matter who it is. If it's Jacob Melton or Chas McCormick, it doesn't matter. And if they give up runs or not, doesn't matter. What matters to me is that they always do a better job than our relievers have been doing. That's the way it's been. It's actually much harder for a lot of these batters to hit these really slow pitches. So why not just, I don't know, why not just bring in Chas McCormick or these other guys and let them pitch? They're doing better than our relievers are. The Tigers scored a run in the 4th, 4 runs in the 5th, another run in the 6th, and 4 more in the 7th. In the 8th inning, they scored 0. Who was on the mound? Chas McCormick, and even got a strikeout. So why are we paying millions of dollars to relievers and spending so much time and effort trying to figure out who to put on the mound when we could just put in a position player? Why not? We get better results. All right, Philly's got some more runs. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, nice. In the 7th inning, 11-4. If we go look at the standings here, okay, so it won't change. Okay, that's right. Angel, you're right. I was thinking that it would be 0.5. Maybe I was thinking that because of a loss, if we have a loss. Next batter is Ramon Urias. He's in the game. The very first pitch, he gets a hit. Look at that. Urias hasn't been in the game. They bring him in as a pinch hitter for Correa. And the very first pitch, right into left field. That's the 4th hit of the game for the Astros. Wow. Alex Lang is on the mound for the Tigers. They said he hasn't thrown a game since May of last year because he was out due to injury. Dubon is at the plate. First pitch is a swing and a miss. Alex Lang. This is hit into left field. And that's going to be caught by the left fielder. Dubon flies out. Urias stays on first base, 1 away. I wonder how many views. This is probably going to be my worst performing video or live stream all year. That's just my guess. Yeah, 58 people watching right now. Only 54 likes. This game is like the beginning of the year. It's terrible. Swing and a miss. 88 miles an hour below the zone. Sanchez with the first strike. Urias takes second base. Runner on second. Sanchez swipes at it, fouls it off. 0-2 is the count. Top of the 9th. Astros' last opportunity to avoid a shutout. Alex Lang on the mound for the Tigers. 0-2 is the count to Sanchez. 1 out. Urias on second. Here's the pitch in the dirt outside. 1-2. Here comes the next pitch in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Oh, I just realized that the logos are on the wrong side. There we go. That's better. Here comes the next pitch, the 2-2. That's low. Full count. Here comes a full count pitch to Sanchez. 89 outside and low. Fouls it off. Stays alive. For those of you who have stuck around today, I appreciate you being here. Not a spectacular game to be listening to for us Astros fans, that's for sure. Fouled off again. The knuckle curve low and outside. We're going to have another full count. Sanchez fighting at the plate to get himself a hit. In this game, he has 1 strikeout, and he has left 2 runners on base. Let's see if he can move Urias to the plate. Here comes the pitch. Ball 4. So we have runners on first and second with 1 out. Christian Walker due up. Yeah, shoot, but it's okay. The good thing is that they've got showers in the locker room, so they can scrub all that stink off. They can scrub off the stank. Do they make hot water fast enough or hot enough? They make water hot enough? Can you make water hot enough to scrub off this stank? We'll find out tomorrow. Hunter Brown in the dugout there, wondering, man, am I going to get any runs on the board tomorrow? Walker with a 1-0 count. Here comes a pitch. 89 in the bottom of the zone, swing and a miss, 1-1. Steel Viper, I'm with you. I mean, I know it sounds silly, but I think that we should consider putting in some position players like McCormick instead of bringing in the other guys. Line drive shot, it gets through. All right. He bobbles the ball a little bit, but Arias stops at third base. We have bases loaded. Christian Walker finally gets a hit. So we got 2 hits and a walk here in the top of the 9th. Victor Caratini comes to the plate with bases loaded. This is the second time that Caratini has been to the plate this game with bases juiced. The last time was early in the game. Way outside, ball 1. Come on, Caratini. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. That's 96 right in the bottom of the zone for strike 1. 1-1. Okay, now you've seen a couple from this guy, Alex Lang. Caratini calls a timeout. He wants to think about what he's learned. Just like Batman, right? Batman goes out, has a little scuffle, observes the situation, goes back to the bat cave, thinks about what he's learned, goes to the data, and then comes back out to fight. Here comes a 1-1 pitch in the dirt. 2 balls and 1 strike. Batman grand slam. You could call that bat slam. Bat slam. Yeah, that's right, Fred. Both of his grand slams came within about a week of each other. They were really close together. Can you imagine having 3 grand slams in one season? It's amazing enough to have 2 so close, but to have 3, that'd be awesome. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. Ooh, swing and a miss on the outside. 2 balls and 2 strike on the knuckle curve. He did hit one pretty far out there. The center field his last at bat, but he didn't get anything from it. 88 below the zone, strike 3. I will say this, though. Even though that ball was below the zone, Caratini was right for swinging at it because those have been called strikes all night long by the umpire. Diaz, who also has a grand slam this season. Really early in the season. He's got an opportunity. This is the last chance right now for the Astros to get a run on the board. Here comes a pitch, and he flies it up immediately. 3 guys back to get it. They have some miscommunication, but the right fielder puts it away, and that's going to be it. The Astros leave 3 runners on. It's a just inning to the game, right? To have bases loaded and 2 opportunities to drive a guy in, and you just don't do it. The Astros lose 10-0, and what we're going to do right now is we're going to completely forget about this game. Let's go ahead and take a look forward at tomorrow's game, because tomorrow should be better. Should be. Go down here, take a look at the schedule. I'm not going to do a scoring summary because the Astros didn't put anything on the board, and I'm not interested in relaying the score, all the scoring by the Tigers. You know my style. The Astros get destroyed like that. There's no use in relaying to you all of the scoring that they gave up. Tomorrow, Hunter Brown is on the mound for the Astros. He's going to be facing Tarek Skubal. Let's see how they match up here. Hunter Brown 10-5, Skubal 11-3. Hunter Brown's ERA and Skubal's very similar, 2.45 to 2.42. WHIP of 1.0 for Hunter Brown and 0.87 for Skubal. Brown has pitched 143 innings. Skubal has pitched 152.1. Brown has given up fewer hits, 100 to Skubal's 110. 164 strikeouts for Hunter Brown, 190 for Skubal. That's crazy. He's got almost 30 more strikeouts than Brown. Pardon me. 43 walks by Brown, only 23 by Skubal. Skubal's numbers are crazy. 190 strikeouts and only 23 walks. That's nuts. 13 homers allowed to Brown's 12. This is a big test for tomorrow because Brown needs to be on, and the Astros have got to figure out a way to hit this pitcher. But you know what? The Astros have been playing down to bad teams, right? And playing up to better teams. And the Tigers have a really good guy on the mound tomorrow, so maybe the Astros will blow him up. We'll see. It's not looking good with the matchup predictor, but we know how this plays out. Usually the matchup predictor is heavily wrong, so we'll see how it works out. Still Viper just sent me a super chat. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Still Viper says, thanks for the stream. I know these games have been rough, but hopefully we'll snap out of this slump. Absolutely, I agree with you, and thank you so much. I will say, arigato gozaimasu. And otsukare-sama desu. Basically, this means thank you very much, and thank you for your hard work. Thank you so much, Steel Viper, for your super chat. And thank all of you. I thank all of you also for your donations, your support, your likes. Thank you for listening in. Thank you for supporting the channel. Not a really great result. It's the opposite today. But having such awesome subscribers and viewers like you makes it possible for me to come back here and do this. If I didn't have any support on the channel, I wouldn't be here. Having the nice community, having you guys and gals here, no matter how the Astros are playing, that's actually the honest truth. Whether the Astros are doing great or poorly, it doesn't affect my channel. What affects my channel is the community itself. And if the community here is good, then I can continue to do this. But if the community is not here or just really bad, then it doesn't matter if the Astros are doing well or if they're doing poorly. I wouldn't be able to be here. So it is really the community that's supporting me here, and I really appreciate it. Hey, Glenn. Yeah, chat again soon. I'll look forward to your message. Let me know how things are coming. And Daryl, thank you so much. I love having you here too. There's so many of you that are awesome, and you know who you are. I believe. I hope you do. If you feel like that you are awesome, and you've been really good here for me, and I haven't pointed that out, then I'm pointing it out right now. You're awesome, and I appreciate your presence. And Fox at Bat, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Chris, I agree. Tomorrow is always another day, you know, so you just have to roll with the punches. The Astros are getting the crap beat out of them right now. I mean, we're really getting the crap beat out of us. And, I mean, think about it. As a fan, it can be very difficult to deal with, but imagine being a player. Because when I was playing ball, if we were going through a stint like this, I would feel like we were a failure, not only as a team, but I would also feel like a big failure myself. I mean, if I were like going 3 for 4 and I were getting hits, extra base hits, homers and stuff like that, and we were still getting destroyed, at least I would feel like I'm doing my best, but the team is just letting me down. But right now, the offense and the defense, the Astros as a whole are playing like a dumpster fire. But we're still in the lead in the division. So there's a silver lining to everything. Fred says, thanks for the stream. Thank you again. Hunter Brown pitching in his hometown tomorrow. Hoping for a great game. Go. Yeah, that's right. Hunter Brown is in Detroit. He is a Detroit guy, and that's probably the reason why they call him Diesel. And we'll see if he can draw some energy from the local crowd and pitch a good game tomorrow. Maybe the Astros, because they're facing a great pitcher, let's face it, he's an amazing pitcher. Maybe that pulls out the best in the Astros. We'll see. Still says, I've been late to the streams lately, having to leave early because work has been crazy, but I'll try to make it on time. If not, I'm sorry in advance. Don't worry about it. I appreciate it. Whenever you're here, You're a positive. You're a positive contributor, a good part of my community. I appreciate your presence and your help, your support, and your positive comments. I see that a lot of your comments I agree with completely. So we're kind of on the same page, and I appreciate that. But we'll take one last look at the scores around the league. I want to see, let me refresh this just to make sure all the scores are up to date. We'll see if anything interesting is going on. Look at this. At the bottom of the 8th, the Pirates are leading 3-2 over the Jays. Let's hope that works out. Mariners are getting destroyed by the Phillies right now in the 8th, 11-4. That's good news for us. That's very useful. Thank you, Phillies. Red Sox getting beat up on by the Orioles 4-0 in the 7th. Orioles continuing to play playoff ball for some reason. And let's see here. The Strangers getting beat 4-1 by the Royals. Nice. Always like to see that. And let's see here. Everything else is later on. Of course, the Brewers beat the Cubs 7-0. But that's pretty much it. On a side note, I will tell you this. We're getting really close to 1,000 subscribers. Let me actually see where I'm at right now. Maybe I can open this up. Yeah, this is actually my live stream screen right here. But if we click on my channel and we go here, we can actually see the subscribers right here. The channel's up to 986 subscribers. We're really close to 1,000. We're just 14 away. And I'm giving away a few things for the 1,000 subscriber milestone. I've got a few postcards here that I picked up. There's one here of Himeji Castle in Japan with the beautiful sakura cherry blossom trees. There's one of Mount Fuji with the beautiful flowers. And also another one. This is Skytree Tower in Tokyo with beautiful sakura trees. These are all postcards. I've got 3 postcards to give away. And when I have my drawing, 3 of you will get a postcard, 3 of you who win. But the number 1 prize is going to get a small box of items. And I can't spend much money, but I've been able to get a few things. I have a Hiroshima Carp shirt. It's a Hiroshima Carp baseball shirt. It's the local professional team here in Hiroshima. I have that shirt. I might be picking up a hat. There is a hat that I might be able to get. It's a Hiroshima Carp baseball hat. It looks pretty cool. It's kind of made of like a what's that material called? Kind of like a burlap type material. It's a really cool hat, and it has a mesh on the back, like the trucker style mesh. I might be able to get that hat really cheap. If I do, I'm going to toss that in. Also, a few snacks. I'm going to put in some Japanese snacks into the box, and some Japanese coffee, and all of those things I'm going to put together, and a Jose Altuve baseball card. All of those things will be put together for the winner, for the number 1 winner of the drawing. So make sure that you stay on the lookout for that. And once I have a winner, should be 4 winners, right? 3 for the postcards, and 1 main winner who gets the box. I'll have that drawing, but after we get to 1,000 subscribers. So look forward to that. We're almost there, just 14 subscribers away. But once we get there, I'll do the giveaway, and I'll let you know how to enter. But anyway, that's really all for now. Oh, Still Viper, I didn't even realize you weren't a member yet. I thought, yeah. Now that I think about it, you've donated several times, and that's been really awesome. But I'm really glad to have you as a member now. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate that. Welcome to the Astros membership network. And let's continue to grow the community. Hopefully, more and more positive energy. The Astros organization can feel that, and we will have better results going forward. But that's pretty much all for now. See you tomorrow for tomorrow's game. Actually, let me take a quick look. I want to see what time the game starts. Excuse me. Okay, the game tomorrow is at the same time as it was today. 7:40 a.m. for me here in Japan. So the game tomorrow, same time as today. I'll see you tomorrow. Guys and gals, thank you so much for being here. The only thing left to say now, as usual is go Astros. Have a great night. See you tomorrows. All right, bye-bye for now.